Alright, YouTube, let's deadlift. Let's do some lightweight deadlift. I'll explain in a minute. Alright, I hope I remember how many sets I do, because I'm going to do 5. It's hard to count to 5 when your blood is rushing in your ears and all that good stuff. Anyway, so the point is, I'm doing some lighter work today. Plus, it's Monday. Like, why wasn't I doing this Saturday? What happened? Okay. Well, long story short, 2 things. Getting close to the competition, so I got to stage out, workout, light, heavy, rest to get ready for the competition on April 12th. Plus, I had something come up Saturday with somebody close to me that needed help with their car. So, think life happens. So I did some machine leg work yesterday, doing this today, and among other things, just because, again, life stuff. I had to do a tattoo for somebody yesterday. Obviously, there was church. We had a youth outing scheduled. A lot going on. So nothing but normal life stuff, really. So that's the thing. You could take any of those things, if you're a loser, and use that as an excuse to not do what you're supposed to do. Well, I'm supposed to lift. I'm supposed to get ready. I'm supposed to stay ready and go out to compete, because the goal of any competition where there's any sort of scoring system is what? To win. If you're not trying to win, then you need to stop that and go do something that doesn't have a winner involved, like art. Skateboarding. Skateboarding would be a great thing that you could do, or you can do it as a recreational art form without having to be involved in scoring. So don't ever play a game of skate. Don't ever enter a contest. And you can still have a good time skateboarding. But, when you sign up for a competition, you go play a game, baseball, football, anything with a score. Showing up and being there isn't good enough. You need to be trying to win. That's the point of a game. That's the point of scoring. So, I'm going to read some verses out of Psalm 17 in between sets of 5. We'll do like a 5x5, 3:15. Again, not a lot, but Thursday I'm doing heavy on like 3 of the 5 events, just to get it, like that final big blast before the competition. It's going to be fun. Might share some clips from that, just because they don't care. Everybody's filming there at where we train for strongman anyway. So sometimes it's for coaches, sometimes it's for just checking your own form, man. Make sure you're doing stuff right. Like that one I posted the other day was my awful form on the circus dumbbell. I took the worst clip out of all of them and posted it, because that's how bad it can go sometimes. But Psalm 17, hear the right, O Lord. This is a psalm of David, by the way. Attend unto my cry, give ear unto my prayer, that goeth not out of feigned lips. Feigned lips. Feigned is a word that we don't use anymore either, and that is fake, lying, deceitful, that kind of thing. Fake. It was probably because it starts with the letter F. That'd be a word the kids would probably relate to better. Like, oh, you're being fake, David's saying, my prayer isn't fake. This is for real, Let my sentence come forth from thy presence. Let thine eyes behold the things that are equal. So a sentence, eyes looking. So he's basically asking God, to judge in a matter, situation. He goes on, thou hast proved mine heart. Thou hast visited me in the night. Thou hast tried me and shalt find nothing. I am purposed that my mouth shall not transgress. Period. So we'll stop there for a second. 3 verses in. He's asking God to be his judge. Again, it's a similar theme to some other ones. Because again, and not that David's not saying he's perfect. When he's like, God's proven me, God's tried my heart, God, he's not saying that overall as an entirety of his life. And he's talking about a specific situation, a specific issue. Because we know David, read enough in 1 Samuel and 2 Samuel, you'll see that. And it's kind of a thing that applies to us too, to a point. You see David when he is on that mission from God, because he was anointed to be the next king of Israel, but he was being patient and waiting for God's timing, but still had enemies, still had people who were coming at him. Even after he became king, still had enemies, still had people that were coming after him, even when he was doing everything God told him to do. So don't let that, be the factor of like, oh, I'm running into obstacles. That must mean this isn't God's will or something. That's nothing could be further from the truth sometimes. David was still having issues with people, even when he was doing everything God wanted him to do, the way God wanted him to do it. So in whatever issue this was, it's all David saying, in this issue, I'm doing it right. And God's going to prove me right. And so it's just an interesting thought to think about. Again, David's not claiming to be his whole life. This is just in this instance, in this issue with whether it's a person or a group of people. It's like, I know I'm right. God knows I'm right. Truth is going to prevail here. Yep, that was good. Didn't just hyper focusing on form because the weight's not heavy. So I can really think like the whole lift about where I am and what I'm doing. Instead of just like, hurry up and finish. It's heavy. So that's good. That's a nice feeling. So he goes on, concerning the works of men, by the word of thy lips, I have kept me from the paths of the destroyer. So by God's word, he's protecting David from whoever it is that's out to get him here. Hold up my goings and my paths in, hold up, hold up my goings in thy paths, that my footsteps slip not. I like that. Slipknot reference, I'm just kidding. But the fact that he's talking about hold up my goings in thy paths, like I'm on your path, but I still need your help on your path to stay. Because again, just because we're on God's path doesn't mean the path is easy in any given moment. It's just we know that it's the best path, that it's the better path, that the ultimate end is heaven. So the other path that might look easier in places is not heaven. If it's not heaven, what is it? Hell. That's what it is. It's hell. says, I've called upon thee, for thou wilt hear me, O God. Incline thine ear unto me, and hear my speech. So God, listen. I'm talking. Pay attention. Because, God doesn't have to listen to us, but he wants to listen to us. Show thy marvelous loving kindness, O thou that savest by thy right hand them which put their trust in thee, from those that rise up against them. Now he's being explicitly, yes, you protect people who are obedient to you from the people that are attacking them for being obedient to you. It's always about God. That's something that we're missing so much in Bible studies and preaching these days, where it's just all about you. And you could definitely take this psalm and pull those parts out of it and make this all about you. But it really comes down to these verses, where it's about God and about Him protecting His people and His name and His holiness. He's asking God, hey, you're doing this not as, yes, you're doing this to help me, but you're also doing this to not prove, might be the wrong word, but you're doing this to demonstrate your power, your holiness, that your name is great, because you're protecting people specifically for what? They're being obedient, and you're protecting them from the people that want to take them down for being obedient to God, not just for being good people or nice or kind or any of that stuff. That's probably what they're doing if they're being obedient, but ultimately it's about God protecting obedient people from disobedient people. So let's do some more deadlifting. Yeah, I know 5x5s are good for strength and stuff, but they're so boring. Because I've only done 3, I've got 2 to go. But look, sometimes you got to do the boring stuff for the exciting stuff to feel even better. It's like that off week where you're not doing much right before the meet or the comp, and then you go to the competition or the powerlifting meet, tear it up. Great feeling. Anyway, goes, keep me as the apple of your eye, hide me under the shadow of your wings, from the wicked that oppress me, from my deadly enemies who compass me about. So, again, he's making this about God, His power, His protection. God is the center of attention, not you. And it's about what He's doing. Because without that, we're powerless. We're weak. We're helpless. We need Him to do that because listen, from my deadly enemies who compass me about. That's what we need saving from. But the world is so disguised as just, we just have a little bit different opinion than you do. Yada, yada, yada. It's like, no, they're evil. They're deadly. Behind all of that, it's what's behind all of that. That's why I don't understand why people are shocked when, every few years something comes out about a big celebrity or something. It's like, oh, duh. They weren't saved. They were living a lifestyle, from all accounts, that we know of, especially more and more now because they love to flaunt it and post it on their social media pages that talk about it in their interviews. And then it comes out that it was actually way worse than even that. Like P. Diddy or that other guy, Epstein, Like, it happens and then we forget about it. Like, I had to think about that guy's name for a minute. Who was that again? Stuff like that happens. Oh, this other guy, the movie guy, Weinstein, whatever his name was. And it's like, man. So here's the deal. Verse 10, they are enclosed in their own fat. With their mouth they speak proudly. Because look, sometimes wickedness does seem to rule. It seems to have the upper hand. And so when it's winning, it's going to talk trash, right? The winning team has a right to talk trash because, well, they're winning. Same thing with evil. When evil's winning, they're going to talk trash and be proud of themselves. They have now They have now compassed us in our steps. They have set their eyes, bowing down to the earth, like as a lion that is greedy of its prey, and as it were a young lion, lurking in secret places. So, now David's concerned that this attack is getting to that point where he might lose. He's in a position to lose. It looks like the enemy is about to pounce. You've ever seen, we probably haven't seen a lion, but you've probably seen a cat. If you don't have a cat, your neighbor probably has a cat. And when it sees a mouse or a bird or something outside that it thinks it can get a hold of, you've seen it. They crouch down, they kind of eyeball it, they might swish their tail a little bit. And when everything's just right and they think that it can't fail, bam, they pounce. It's kind of fun to watch, actually. But that's the comparison David's making here. That he thinks he's about to get pounced on. So you're crying out to God, you're about to get pounced on. How confident are you at that moment? You know what I mean? Because David's pretty confident here. If you go back to the beginning of the psalm, he's very confident. Because he knows he's right. And so that's always a good reason to be confident. And he knows who God is. That's an even better reason to be confident. And he knows the ultimate verdict's going to be. So, in the moment, how are you going to handle that? Yeah, I don't normally do 5x5s, and it's getting easier. I don't know if that's normal or not. Just that familiarity, I guess. Like, oh, this weight again? Okay, no problem. I swear the first set was the hardest one. I don't know. It's all good. I'll do one more and move on. So, how are we going to wrap this up? He's got a few more verses here. About to get pounced on. What's he going to do? Oh no. Arise, O Lord. Disappoint him. Cast him down. Deliver my soul from the wicked, which is thy sword, from men, which are thy hand, O Lord. Now think about that. Even in the middle of all this, look at what David's saying here. He understands that God uses wicked people as part of his plan. And this is like, it's so funny. I don't know if it's just a kind of a coincidence, because it's not like I've been like watching videos about this or Googling it or anything, because it's settled in my mind. I don't doubt it or wonder about it at all. But it seems like there's a lot of people right now posting about this whole concept of good, bad things happening, or does God allow evil? Does God create evil? I just saw this debate about, how can God be good when this is going on, and that kind of stuff. And sometimes people who are talking about that, maybe consciously, subconsciously, they're sitting in this position of like intellectual superiority. Like, we're so smart now compared to things 100 years ago, 1,000 years ago, 2,000, 10,000. No, just kidding. We're not 10,000 years old yet. But, it's like David got it, okay? So it can't be that hard to grasp. The reason it's a hard thing to grasp is we've been lied to for so long by the half-truth of this loving God that we've been pushed over so far to that side by the lies that follow the truth of God is loving, that contradict every other part of God's character and nature. And so it's not a matter of intellectual superiority. It's like the intellectual retardation of not being taught the whole counsel of God. That's what I'm going to call it. Intellectual retardation, because you aren't taught the whole Bible. So you only see God a certain way, and then you come across things that make you not, comprehend what's going on, because you've been told something else the whole time, when right there in the middle of the Bible is a whole another thing. And this is one of those times. David is saying, deliver my soul from the wicked, which is thy sword, from men which are thy hand, O Lord, from men of the world, which have their portion in this life, and whose belly thou fillest with thy hid treasures. This God, he's saying, this is all part of your plan, and I get it, God. I still need you to rescue me from them. Even though you're using these evil people to accomplish your will, you're using these evil people in some way. Maybe it's part of the process of disobedience and the punishment. Maybe it's just a simple matter of character building. Whatever it is, David's asking for deliverance, because it must have come to a head with somebody or a group of somebodies where it was like, enough's enough. You know what I'm saying? They are full of children and leave the rest of their substance to their babes. Now, I'm talking like 80s rock here, babes. I'm talking like their kids and their grandkids are just going to inherit a pile of stuff. But here's what, and that's the big distraction, right? What you see, the wealth, the world around you. But here's the ultimate goal. If this is not your goal as a Christian, I really question, what you've been taught, I guess, for one thing. And just another thing, what your hope really is in, and what you're really looking forward to after this life. Because here's what David's looking forward to. Of all the things that you want to go to heaven for, is this even in your top 5 or 10? As for me, I will behold thy face in righteousness. I shall be satisfied when I awake with thy likeness. If you don't want to go to heaven to be with Jesus, then you aren't going for the right reason. It's not about all that other stuff. It's being with Jesus. It's seeing him face to face, the guy that died for you. But, keep talking about how you want to go to heaven for the paradise and the rest and hanging out with, and all these descriptions of heaven that, for the most part, aren't even in the Bible to start with. They're just made up old wives' tales because they appeal to you and your lust and your nature. They're not driving you to, I want to be with a holy God. I want to be with Jesus forever, because that's the ultimate idea. If you're going to heaven to see grandma again, you're going for the wrong reason. And if you're going for the wrong reason, you might not be going at all. So I'd check myself, repent and believe the gospel, and be saved. So I got another one of these. But it's boring. You don't need to watch. So go out and have a good day if you want to.